In the previous two episodes, you learned about the survival traits of wanted children and partly wanted children. Today, we are going to delve deeper into a survival trait of another category and how these beliefs shape our identity to protect our bodies. This mechanism is the primary protective armor, a stealth that helps us to keep our bodies safe and alive. The topic for today's episode is unwanted children and their survival traits. To know in depth about it, you can read chapter number 19 of the book, Stop Surviving, Start Living with Freedom. A word of caution before we proceed further. When I refer to unwanted child or unwanted children, I am referring to a personality type and not an actual child or children. The category persists from infancy to adulthood. Before understanding their survival traits, keep in mind that I thoroughly investigate their personalities before drawing conclusions. Don't judge people based on one or two traits, and reflect on their totality before forming conclusions. Random interpretations of survival traits can be misleading. Secondly, it is important to note that children who are labeled as unwanted are not truly unwanted. It is often their parents' limitation that conveyed a message of rejection to them. The emotional message conveyed at conception that they are unwanted and thus rejected is deeply ingrained in their psyche, beyond their conscious awareness. They are not aware of the survival mechanism and its functioning. Thus, children have a meaningful role to play on this planet, but their survival mechanism may be displeasing and unacceptable to society. Thirdly, the survival traits discussed in this podcast are innate and programmed, as individuals are born with them. Therefore, I want to clarify that I don't mean to suggest that the individuals demonstrating this survival trait is doing so intentionally. These traits are deeply ingrained in their unconscious mind. People in this category are unaware of their own survival mechanism, but tend to operate from that system, with survival being their basic instinct. This means that the entire process is automated and they are essentially on autopilot. Fourthly, one has to bear in mind that the degree of rejection will decide the intensity of the survival trait of the unwanted children. A person born under this category is unaware of their core survival mechanism and its influence. Some people in this category are labeled as narcissistic, gaslighters, pathological liars, etc., but their behaviors are hardwired into their system. My purpose is to help people recognize their core survival traits and possibly help them get off the autopilot. That can only happen when you know who you are and your core programming, and then make conscious decisions to overcome your limitation and live life freely. So let's dive deeper into the survival traits of an unwanted child. The first survival trait of an unwanted child: issue of trust. In the first episode, it was mentioned that you are somebody else's goal. When it comes to unwanted children, that is not true. Maybe the couple's goal was to have sex, but the woman ended up getting pregnant. If the woman is unmarried, it becomes an embarrassment for her in the society and a humiliation for the family. Feeling ashamed, she has to give birth to the child. She is unhappy going through the process of carrying the child and giving birth. That sends an emotional message to the fetus: I don't want you. The fetus feels abandoned even before being born. As these children grow up, the message imprint on them continues to affect their trust in their creators, leading to trust issues as they become adults. Some time ago, a teenager was brought in for therapy session who had been disrespectful to his mother and wouldn't trust her. In a fit of rage, he even punched his father and did not feel any remorse, nor did he apologize for his actions. The issue of unwanted children is so deeply ingrained that they do not even trust therapists. At times, I did ask my clients, "You don't trust anyone, not even me." They agreed to that statement. They will be selective in presenting their personal data and at times misguide the therapist because of their trust issues. The unwanted category possesses a unique talent of winning the trust of others. They can be extremely polite and caring, going to great length to gain the favor of those around them. They may even sugarcoat their words to win the trust of others. However, there are times when they may take this behavior too far. When they want something from others, they use seductive tone of voice. While this may initially seem charming, it can eventually come across as insincere and fake to those around them. It's important to realize that this behavior is not intentional, but rather a survival mechanism that these individuals have developed. Unwanted children are highly insecure and find it hard to trust anyone. If you are in a relationship with someone who belongs to this category, he or she may ask you to cut ties with your family and friends, including your parents. They may be extremely possessive and demand that you distance yourself from others to reassure them of your commitment, even though they maintain their own relationship with friends and family. They may find ways of causing rift between you and your close ones, and at times use emotional blackmail. Unwanted children want everyone to trust them, but they trust no one. Seema disclosed on her enrollment form that she wanted to overcome her fear of losing people she loves. Unfortunately, she was feeling lonely because her good friends had abandoned her, accusing her of being fake and dishonest. They had blocked her from social media sites and refused to respond to her phone calls and emails. Seema believed that she had done nothing wrong and that her friends were mistaken in punishing her. Unwanted children do not know whom to trust and are plagued with suspicion. Consequently, they end up losing people and feeling lonely. Second survival trait, fear of rejection. Unwanted children have undergone rejection in the form of fetuses, and that emotional message is coded within their survival mechanism. Anytime they experience rejection, their system unconsciously picks up the message and wants to revert it to acceptance. People born under this category will go to any length to win over others by turning, twisting, stretching, and molding themselves like clay. They can literally be charming and the sweetest people one knows, both verbally and behaviorally, doing everything the way the other person wants them to do in order to avoid another rejection. Unwanted children have outstanding persistence and persuasion skills to entice the other person to agree to the outcome. Once they have decided to achieve something, they don't give up easily and will do whatever it takes to get it. Even though they avoid rejection at all cost, they can do it comfortably when it comes to others, and they will show no sign of remorse or pain. Additionally, they may lose interest in something once they have achieved an impossible goal and set their sight on something more motivating. Fanny, a foreign national, fell in love with an Indian man while they were both living in her country. They were in a relationship for nearly 2 years, but the man had made it clear that he couldn't marry Fanny because he was an Indian Brahmin. Eventually, he returned to India and got a job in Hyderabad. Fanny was heartbroken and decided to move to India to be closer to him. She learned the Indian language and adapted to Brahminical culture and customs, even changed her style of dress. She also got a job in the same city where her boyfriend was working. Eventually, he felt compelled to marry her, but unfortunately, the marriage only lasted a few years. The third survival trait, they like complete control. Unwanted children tend to feel more secure when they have control over others. They may even expect their spouse children to report everything happening in their lives to them. Often, they become restless and nag their partners when information is withheld. This behavior stems from their need for assurance that things around them are safe. However, they make their loved ones' lives miserable and compel them to move away from them. At times, their close ones may view them as control freaks. Unwanted children's core intention is to feel secure. Controlling others is the only way they know to be safe. Ironically, the more they try to exert control over others, the more things tend to go out of hand. As a result, they manage to apply another strategy known as divide and rule to keep the reins in their hands. Thus, individuals are persistent when it comes to retaining control and do not spare their spouse, children, or close family members. The ultimate objective is to gain and retain a strong foothold in their personal lives. Unwanted children can use various tactics to control others. They may use their charm and flattery to make someone feel comfortable and at ease. They might also shower that person with gifts or treats to gain their trust and affection. They won't necessarily control the person overtly, but rather in subtle ways, making it appear that they have the person's best interest at heart. They may also gossip negative things about others in order to protect you, gaining your loyalty, pretending to be on your side and helping you. If you have issues with someone, unwanted children may even reveal information they have collected from that person to you, making it seem like they are protecting you and looking out for your interest. By creating a divide and setting up one person against the other, they can control them both while still reaping benefits from them. The ones who have been divided often don't realize that they have been pitted against each other, feeling that division is real. This is how unwanted children gain security for themselves. Chandani, one of my clients, had attended a few counseling sessions along with her family members. She had a love marriage, but for some time now, there has been issues brewing with her and her husband. Chandani was very convincing and sweet to listen to, while her husband was more direct and straightforward in his communication. Her husband believed that she was manipulating and controlling their children with her innocent approach, being soft and gentle and portraying herself as genuine. However, he always saw through her hidden intentions. Disagreements would often lead to heated arguments, and she would sometimes manipulate her children, turning them against their father. During therapy session, Chandani would try to give her own inputs based on her previous experiences with other therapists, often suggesting ways to tackle her family members. Fourth survival trait, divide and rule. Divide and rule is one of the remarkable survival traits found in their personality. There is actually no conscious intention to harm anyone, but all actions are aimed at keeping oneself safe. As such, these people do not trust anyone, and they do not feel safe in the environment they feel themselves in. There may be tendencies to manipulate others at home or at workplace in order to make themselves feel secure. The strategy of divide and rule helps them to have control over both parties they share a relationship with and gain benefits from both sides. This could be done by pitting one person against the other in a subtle way while maintaining a good relationship with both these parties. One can imagine a number of professions this person could succeed at. While they temporarily benefit from the survival trait, over time their intentions get exposed and people lose faith in them. A married couple, Rajan and Hema, came to a session where Hema expressed her concern about her husband's anger issues. At the time, Rajan was working in Dubai while Hema was a housewife. Upon his return, he began verbally abusing Hema's brother and even threatened to harm him physically. Hema told me that while Rajan had similar issues with others in the past, he had never had any problems with her brother before because they were good friends. During my session with Rajan, he explained that his brother-in-law was spreading false information about him. I probed further to understand the reason behind this. Rajan used to call his wife twice a week to discuss family matters, and he could not recall speaking to the brother-in-law during his recent trip to Dubai. It was later revealed that Rajan's wife had subtly planted malicious information about her brother during their conversations. Rajan was unable to verify the accuracy of the information with his brother-in-law because he was told to keep it a secret. As a result, he believed that physical retaliation was the only way to settle the score. After a week of verbal abuse, Hema mediated and helped them sort out issues, resulting in a temporary reconciliation. In this case, Hema is the one who lit the fire, and then she also extinguishes it, while her husband and brother remain unaware of the true culprit. As a result, the relationship between the two friends has been irrevocably altered, and they will never discover the truth. Hema successfully manipulated two friends into a conflict and fulfilled her hidden agenda, and also painted herself as a good person while labeling her husband as having anger issues. The fifth survival trait: fake and deceptive. Unwanted children have the mantra, fake it till you make it. They are often perceived as self-confident and poised. Unaware, they may be masking their lives and portraying themselves as authentic and genuine. Upon closer examination, this facade can crumble, revealing their fakeness. However, they have other tactics to deviate attention by creating a smokescreen, changing the topic, ignoring the person, or pretending to be innocent. Unwanted children do not intend to harm others, but rather they seek to protect themselves. Unfortunately, their deceptive tendencies can lead them into a trap. They fear that being open and transparent will make them vulnerable and jeopardize their survival. Therefore, they put up a false mask to protect themselves. However, this can lead to excessive lying, as it becomes difficult for them to keep track of all their fabricated stories. Eventually, they get caught in their own web of lies. They are afraid of facing the truth because they don't believe that others will understand or listen to them. The fear of not being accepted and understood can deeply affect them. As a result, they choose to lie about their personal history, achievements, or qualities to gain acceptance. They believe that external validation will give them acceptance and boost their self-image. The sixth survival trait: naturally manipulative. Unwanted children often exhibit a natural talent for language, which, when paired with natural acting abilities, they become a powerful tool of manipulation. This is not to say that every unwanted child possesses such talent, but for many, they come naturally. They do not do it intentionally, but it is the survival instinct that forces them to be this way. It is their survival mechanism's way to safeguard their bodies. They may not even realize that their behavior is manipulative, as it is beyond their comprehension. Many unwanted children possesses a substantial amount of seductive charm. They use it without hesitation to get something from the other person. The words they use, the tonality and the rhythm in their speech, and the use of their body are their tools of manipulation. They could very easily deceive a person with their style of talking and may make a naturally good salespeople. These are some of the primary survival traits of unwanted children, and there are many more not discussed in this podcast. If you want to learn more, refer to the book mentioned earlier. If you can identify with the traits mentioned, then you could be an unwanted child. However, if you feel only partly resonates with them and not at all, then you could be wanted or partly wanted child. To know more about the wanted child or partly wanted child's survival traits, kindly refer to the previous episodes. If you already know which category you belong to, it's time to consider how you want to live your life and move forward. What changes do you wish to make? Do you want to continue manipulating, deceiving, and controlling others' life? You might gain fame, name, and recognition, but you will never have genuine friends because you have trust issues. You may know many people or pretend to know, but deep down you feel lonely. It's time to take charge, get off the autopilot, and start living freely. To listen to more podcasts and to watch YouTube videos, please feel free to visit my website at www.livingwithfreedom.com. I also have 2 books available for purchase on various platforms: Stop Surviving, Start Living with Freedom, and The Self-Decoded. The better you know who you are and the working of your internal mechanism, the more likely you will experience joy and peace. In the upcoming podcast, you will have an opportunity to learn something new and unique. In the meantime, I encourage you to look for opportunities to express gratitude for everything around you. See you next week.